Well, I love that the barbarians, the name barbarian came from like that's how they thought people talked. Yeah, they were like, these people come over and they're like bar 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 bar. So they're barbarians. That's how they talk.
That's right.
That's hilarious.
It's the Greek word barbaros for
what's
non-Greek.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, barbaros.
Is it not just? Was I misinformed that it was like
right.
the people?
I think you're right. Barbaros. I mean, you can't really know how the word was invented, but it sounds like it. It sounds like bar 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 bar. Oh, those dumb barbars.
And they're like Greeks are like anyone who's not anyone who doesn't speak Greek, and they just go around going bar 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 bar.
I think it was like three things.
Those are barbarians.
You had to speak Greek. You had to drink wine, and one other thing I can't remember.
Three things for what?
And you had to do
what?
Hospitality to be considered not a barbarian.
Oh,
I think there was three things. You had to drink wine. You had to
speak Greek,
and you had to do hospitality law.
What?
Yeah.
What's that?
That's what's called senos.
Oh, you have to like change.
Law.
You have to turn the corners down on the bed and you put a mint on the pillow.
Yep. If you put a chocolate on the pillow, that's not good because then people wake up, they think they shit the bed.
You're a barbarian.
Yeah.
You're no longer Greek.
Right. So, well,
what is hospitality law?
It's a Greek thing.
If someone shows up at your house with a pillow, you have to let them sleep there.
They must sleep. So you know the word xenophobia, right? Xenophobia.
Yes.
So xenos.
Those are the people who liked the Hercules show but hated the Xena show. That's a real throwback for anyone.
That's a real
anyone
throwback.
Who's real young is like
That's
Hercules and Xena. What are you talking about?
The Hercules show was pretty good. Now that guy's
Kevin Sorbo.
Yeah, he sort of blows up Twitter with
a little bit of a wackadoo.
Yeah, right wing stuff.
Meanwhile, Lucy Lawless continues to be pretty awesome.
You're right.
She's Xena. Anyway, xenophobia. Lucy Lawless.
Yeah,
it's a fun one.
Lawless.
You think
xenophobia. So xenophobia, the word xenos means foreigner, but
you're afraid of
xenos law or xenos, it means hospitality. So when a foreigner would come, like a someone else would come to your house from like a traveler, like a foreigner traveler.
Yeah.
Then you would say, it's in all the Greek tragedy or Greek, epics and stuff.
Okay.
They're always like, welcome to our home. Before you say anything, let us feed you and make you comfortable and have you bathed and be comfortable and fed. Then you'll tell us about why you're here and what's going on. So it's like, it's not like, it's not like
conditional.
Yeah, it's not like you slide open the door, just the eyes, and you're like, who goes there? Who are you? What do you want? What do you need? No, go away. No, that's really...
The idea is you provide hospitality to anyone
and everyone.
Okay.
And the superstition is that the gods would come down and be like a beggar or like a foreigner, and then if you were like, go away, then they curse you.
This is the first version of Undercover Boss was the was the Greeks thinking that the gods would put on a shawl and be like, will you give me a bagel?
Yep. And then it's like, no bagels for you. Curse you! No bagels for your family for 1,000 years.
All right. I'm turning you into a fish now. Goodbye.
So we should probably do a solution.
We should do a solution.
Okay, climate change.
That's the solution?
I've been tracking this stuff. We are so screwed. It's only getting worse.
Yeah.
Did you know that 2023, which is now over, but 2023 was the year that we burned the most coal we've ever burned in 1 year.
Yay!
In 2023.
All right, we did it.
We've known.
Congratulations, everybody.
30 years, and we've known with dire intensity for 15 years, 10 years. Certainly in the last 5 years, we've known the absolute worst thing we can do is burn coal. That's like the worst thing to do. It's like if you were an alcoholic and you were like, shots of vodka. Like, that's burning coal for climate change. It's the worst thing you can do. And in 2023, it was the worst year ever.
Why? Why are we not, because I would think it would be the lowest year because we have all the alternative
we got
fuel.
We got problems.
Sources.
I mean, a lot of it just comes from China and India, who they are like, no, we're not going to sacrifice economic growth and we need energy to grow, and so we're doing this thing.
Okay,
it's extremely bad. It's extremely problematic. But I'm just saying, climate change is like really screwed. Like, if you're listening to this and you don't think climate change will completely alter your life and the life of your children, like, I'm sorry. I'm here to tell you to wake up and smell the coffee. Like, everything is going to be different.
Right.
Mass migrations.
Yeah.
Huge flooding will destroy things. If it doesn't destroy your home, it'll destroy somebody else's home, and then they're going to show up on your doorstep.
Exactly.
So
like
it's
if you're not directly impacted, you'll be indirectly impacted.
Yes.
There's no escape.
There's no escape. It doesn't matter. Even like the billionaires who have a compound in New Zealand, no, they're still going to be screwed. It's going to be everywhere.
Do you see them building the back to your favorite director you like, the Elysium?
Oh yeah,
they built this big like circle.
Wait,
of the
I
world.
like the director of Elysium.
Yes, the District 9 guy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so, but like,
I don't keep track of
do you
directors.
know? So Elysium is like the rich
should.
people live on a rotating space like station
Circle,
that's off the Earth, and everyone else has to like deal with being on the Earth. Do you see that happening?
Matt Damon.
Before we figure out like how to solve it for everybody, do you see like just some people taking their resources and trying to like eject?
No, I see these billionaires thinking that they can like be insulated, and then they are going to find they cannot be insulated. That's what they're going to find. They're going to find that they are.
It's all connected.
Totally screwed, and that they should have gone to their boards and say, we are using the full force and power of our like billions of dollars in our corporation to fight climate change, or I'm resigning. That's what all of them should be doing today. Right. Like if they had any shred of leadership, any shred of morality, that's what they would do. Instead, they're saying, oh, give me my $100 million compensation. Oh, I'm going to spend half of it on a compound in New Zealand. That is complete lack of leadership, complete lack of moral integrity, complete dissociation from reality. I mean, it's absurd.
It doesn't seem like it's going to pan out for them the way they want it to either. It's not like, I don't know, climate change especially is a thing where you can't escape it by being richer than other people. Like
the atmosphere.
You can escape some of the impacts temporarily, but what are you going to do? Like
I heard Neil deGrasse Tyson say, "Oh, I got to get to the solution." Okay. The solution is...
Yeah, this is a lot of doom and gloom.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, by the way, hi, I'm Scott Moppin.
I'm Adam Browse.
Welcome to Solutions for the Multiverse.
Doom from the Multiverse.
Yeah,
Doom.
Exactly.
We just happen to be in the universe where people are complete idiots, and they dumped carbon dioxide in the atmosphere for 40 years when they knew it was going to destroy everything.
Yeah, but it sounds like they already also know it's going to destroy, are doing it more than ever right now.
Not stopping.
That's crazy. I mean,
it's the stupidest thing ever.
When you know there's a difference between doing it and not knowing what you're doing, and you're just like, industrial revolution, we're building engines and blah blah blah, and then when you're like, oh, we're increasing the CO, like the level of the sea, the level of the temperature of the seas is going to be a problem for everybody, and they're like, oh, okay, now we should. But now if you don't stop, it's intentional.
It's insane. So here's the solution. One solution is. So basically, there were two big things that are the main things that drive climate change.
Okay.
One is the suburbanization of America. That was the big carbon.
We did that a few episodes ago. You were saying like people living in houses that are like big houses spread out.
Car-centric suburban life in America. It's a complete lifestyle choice. It's not like we were like, we need to save 1 million babies' lives, so we need to burn this gas. It was like, no, it was just like a bunch of white people were convinced that they should be scared of living close to each other. and that black people were scary that lived in cities, and so they should all move to the suburbs. And then they were allowed to do that. It was a complete lifestyle choice and completely idiotic. The second big puff was the industrialization of China and India, which are still happening.
Okay.
But that actually was like saving a bunch of people's lives. Like, I don't know if you remember this, but when I was a kid, it was like there are children in China who would eat your food. So you got to eat your food.
That was
like they were literally going from starvation to now being able to have, health care and, a motor scooter to get around and whatever.
Right.
So, I mean, they actually did something that wasn't a lifestyle choice. It was like actual humanitarian, like economic development. To some extent, to most of it.
Well, and there's been a lot of industrialization in China and India that you're talking about, where they're like, we're getting basic functions to like the poorest people now.
Exactly.
Which I'm not against, but also it's far enough in the future we should be able to do it without wrecking the world at the same time.
What should be happening is the rich countries should be directly paying for the non-usage of coal in developing countries. Like, it should just be like, don't use coal power plants. How much do we have to pay you to not use coal power plants? And China would be like, you have to pay us $200 billion a year to not build any more coal power plants. And we need to be like, here's a check for $250 billion. Please don't make any coal power plants. Like, and that's what we need to do. That's just and also, without a doubt, that is what needs to be done. Like, it's not, everyone's like, oh, the climate's so complicated.
Also, China needs to,
complicated.
On their end, they need to like, then take that check and do what they were going to say, and not then also be like, yeah, we're also going to do the coal thing anyway.
Well, that's why you give them the extra 50, you know. Well, no, now you can do pretty good tracking because they have satellite tracking.
Do we run out of coal? We
destroy the whole environment before the coal runs out. There's whole mountains full of coal.
Okay,
that could still burn.
Because I mean, like we would technically, like theoretically, you run out of petroleum oil at some point.
You don't necessarily run out; it just becomes very expensive to produce.
Okay,
you almost never run out; just the price goes.
But the
up.
the easy to get oil is gone, and that's why they're like, well,
we'll
do fracking.
We spent, tens of billions of dollars in the last 10 years to do fracking and oil sands.
Yeah.
All of that money could have just been spent doing renewables instead of that oil sands and fracking. And
but you're saying like we're not going to run out of coal. The idea that like they just run out of coal.
We're not going to run out of petroleum either. It's just going to get more and more expensive.
Okay.
Yeah. That's all called peak oil. Peak oil doesn't mean that it'll go away. It just means that it'll become more and more expensive to produce.
Right. And then everything that we've tied to oil, which is, like everything becomes more expensive as a byproduct.
I still haven't done the solution. Okay.
Do it.
The solution is cities, because remember the suburbanization. I can't really control China, so I don't have a solution.
I think you're just being lazy. You probably could if you tried.
I'll try to control China. 1 billion people. Do something. But we do have a control over our culture and our cities because it's our country. It's America.
Okay.
And we need people to move out of the suburbs back into the cities. That would literally reverse that big puff of carbon.
Right.
Of suburbanization and car centrism in America. So, how do we do that? Well, I think the answer is fun.
Okay.
Fun and free and subsidized and affordable.
I like
housing.
fun.
Yeah, fun.
I'm a fan of fun.
So, like for example, what are the most popular cities that get popular and stay popular? So there's already cities that are like tier 1 cities like San Francisco, New York, and everybody wants to move there. It's extremely expensive to live there. It's expensive because people want to live there.
Well,
supply and
New York, LA, Chicago are our top 3.
High demand, right. And people want to look at those cities and they have everything there. So the question is like, what makes them the top tier cities? So it's like, well, everything, because everything's there. So what you have to look at is the cities that have gone from lower tier up and what had them pop up.
Okay.
So I think the best city to look at is Austin, because Austin went from being like a tier 3 or 4 city up to being a tier 2, and now it's like pushing up, like with Tesla moving there and like a lot and Joe Rogan moving there and like a bunch of people moving there. It's almost pushing up into like almost like a tier 1 city.
Okay,
like it's really becoming like a cultural phenomenon and like an economic powerhouse and stuff.
Yeah.
So the question is, how did Austin go up like that? And I think the answer is fun. They got 6th Street, all bars and clubs. They got at least 4 major music festivals a year. They have Austin City Limits, South by Southwest, and I think they have a bluegrass one too.
Okay.
And then I think there's another one too in addition. But they have these music festivals that are just fun. They're huge. Just people drinking and listening to music.
Right.
And then they have food, which is fun. Like a food scene that's fun to go get the food.
Is there a university as well in Austin?
There's a university, but I think the university, I think it's all fueling the fun.
Okay.
So the university fuels the fun.
But the university also provides you a constant stream of young, hip people who are interested in having and finding fun and spending money on that.
Exactly. And so there's other things that feed into it because like it's complicated. And I was reading a bunch about what people think, made it happen. And the university is a big part of it because people are like, oh, you need educated workers. You need educated workers.
Right.
And LA has UCLA, I guess. There's like educated workers from that or whatever. But yeah, so there's fun. But I think fun is the tip of the spear. And then affordable housing, because all these low tier cities have more affordable housing.
Don't those work in reverse? Like, the thing about Austin is that now the housing is not at all affordable, right? Because everyone's moving in there. It's a supply and demand thing.
And they don't build enough. Yeah.
Right.
But let's say, for example, you could take a tier 5 city,
okay,
like
Toledo, Ohio.
Toledo, Ohio. And you were like, let's make Toledo, Ohio into Austin. That would be good for the climate. If not just Toledo, Ohio, but if you could do that for 100 cities, if you could take 100 tier 5 cities in America, I mean, there's tens of thousands of cities.
Yeah.
If you could take 100 tier 5 cities and you could make them all, is like
little
Austin,
Austins.
little Austins.
Yeah.
Where everybody wants to move into them, that would de-suburbanize America. Because that's what we need. Because the suburbs were everywhere. They were around every city.
Right.
So we need to de-suburbanize, we need like many places for those people to move to, which means we need to like make many little cities exciting and cool to move into, and you want to be down in the downtown of.
Okay.
So we need to make them all fun.
So instead of having just
this is a limp.
No,
I just wanted to do a climate change solution.
I'm trying to
I think we need to talk about climate a lot.
I'm trying to focus on how to frame it. So like instead of having 3 big cities,
right,
like the 3 main cities and then a bunch way down lower, you try to kind of bring up
have like
your
bunch of awesome cities.
You're bringing up your minor leagues
and
making them all awesome so that there's not as much strain put on those 3 major cities, and there's not as much demand for like the suburb area of those 3 major cities or whatever, the Dallas
and
suburbs.
We don't need to build more housing. And if like you can't, like I've been trying to advocate for more housing in San Francisco for almost 10 years. Like I was a hipster YIMBY. Yeah. I like invented YIMBY.
A couple episodes ago you said rip down the highways.
Yeah, rip down the highways.
Put up the housing.
But that's not going to happen, unfortunately. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen because there's just this really, really gnarly NIMBY, really entrenched NIMBY anti-growth people, and you cannot budge them. Like they are so incredibly religiously addicted to this idea that like somehow the sky would fall down if they built some 7-story buildings, or whatever.
Well, and they like to theorize we need to do these things elsewhere, but definitely not here.
Yeah, and you know where
you're like, but everyone thinks that.
You know where
they're like, well,
yeah, you know where there's housing stock? Toledo, Ohio, right? It's already there and it's affordable. You could probably buy a house for like $150,000 in downtown Toledo, Ohio, or $200,000. So what I'm saying is, instead of trying to say, okay, well, we can't build the city, the San Francisco people are blocking us from doing the right thing, which is to just build a whole lot more housing in San Francisco. So let's bring what makes people want to live in the downtown of San Francisco to other places.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people think, well, that's crazy, because what it is money and wealth, and it's the economy, man. San Francisco has a booming economy, and that's why people want to be there, because they want money, because that's why they're there. And it's like, it's such a simplistic and not evidence-based perspective. I actually think money is a trailing indicator.
Yes.
Not a leading indicator. And when you look at Austin, it's the same way. It's not like a bunch of big banks moved into Austin and then it became a super cool place to move to.
Right.
It's the exact opposite.
They
just ran really awesome music festivals and had really good food and bar scenes.
Yeah.
And then all the people moved there and started their businesses and moved their businesses there because they wanted to, have the cool lives.
It's like the cool people who don't have money create a thing in a place, and they're like, no, we're creating it because it's cool, because it's fun.
Right.
And then the people who aren't cool but do have money are like, oh, could I buy some of that coolness?
Yes.
And you're like, a little bit. And then a lot of them do it. Then the price goes up, and then you look around and it's like, oh, it's only the people who bought the coolness, and all the cool people have been pushed. The actual cool people have been pushed out. I think you're right. The money is a lagging.
Yeah, but everybody, all the people who go and are in charge of cities, all think it's the other way around. They all think, well, if we had a JP Morgan on every corner, then this city would be amazing.
Banks on every, exactly.
Right. And it's like, you are so stupid. And of course they're stupid because they're 55-year-old men. They're totally out of touch with like what's cool. And like I admit that as a man who's getting older, I'm getting out of touch. I don't know what's cool either, but I can tell.
Me. I know everything that's cool.
Scott knows everything. I can tell though, from just looking at the stories of these arcs, these cities that rise, like Nashville has risen in prominence. Boulder, the fun of Boulder, a lot of it was outdoors stuff. Yeah, it was very fun. Yeah, but they also had bluegrass music, and they had the microbrewery scene was really strong in Colorado and Boulder, and they had the university, not because of the economics of the university, even though I think that does help, but because of the fun of the university. The university drives all this fun. by having 50,000 people who are going to show up to the club or to the bar or to the concert or to the festival or the restaurant.
Well, I think like when I was growing up, the places like this that I think now are the money places are like Portland and Seattle are ones that were fun, and there was a whole scene.
Yeah,
and then
the grunge scene, right? The grunge scene was a music scene, a food scene. Yeah,
it's specifically not
and then
a
now
money
Amazon and
scene.
Microsoft are there, and it becomes a money scene,
and it becomes you have to pay a premium to get the coolness that other people just had because they were cool or whatever, you know.
This is the Dionysian theory of
but now it's like you wouldn't think of going to Seattle without bags of money because you're not going to do well there.
So true.
Right.
So
but
true.
You need to find those other places. Like Austin is becoming that thing where it's like if you wanted to, the time to move into Austin was a few years ago.
Right.
So now you need to look and see where are those cities now that are on that trajectory.
Right.
And it's hard to predict because you don't know what business is going to take off and decide to headquarter themselves there, or what kind of industry is going to show up there that suddenly like brings in money and workers and people, but trying to find those places instead of the places that have already popped. It's like
totally.
It's investing.
You're talking about like from a real estate perspective, but what if you were
or just from a being there perspective? I would rather be there.
Of being there. But what about from like imagine you were either like a government planner or like a giant organization like a teacher retirement fund, or if you were like a giant, like a billionaire, like if you were really a powerful person, you could really decide things about the society, right?
Right.
It would be better for society, or just the government. It would be better if we knew how to make cities that people wanted to move to, right?
Yes.
That would be a good skill to have like in our back pockets as a civilization. And we absolutely do not have that skill. We are just at the whim of just random sort of chaotic flow that happens.
Right.
And out of that random chaotic flow, we get an extremely uneven distribution of desire for people to be in certain places, which leads to the housing crisis.
Well, and we're also operating off of old instruction manuals where we're like, all right, how do we grow a city? Sporting team.
Yeah, exactly. We need to
build a big stadium.
We need to build a big stadium.
We need shopping malls and
more parking.
Things
more
that
free parking.
I'm like, no, shopping malls don't work anymore. But people don't. I think a sporting team is now a negative, like a negative value proposition for your city now, or whatever. Figuring out the new way to do it instead of just going from the old playbooks is essential.
But that's the thing. There is no new playbook. So I was reading this article. A city that I know is trying to do this is Tulsa.
Okay.
So the 47th wealthiest person in the world is this guy, and he like owns a bunch of Tulsa.
Oh, you have to look it up? You don't actually know
his
number
name
47?
476th richest person in the world as of September 21st. His name is, or September 2021. His name is George Bruce Kaiser.
Okay.
American billionaire businessman, and he's the chairman of BOK Financial Corporation in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He owns like most of Tulsa.
Okay.
And so he wants Tulsa to be the next Austin. Okay. Selfishly, because he wants his investments to increase, right? And also he just has this legacy vision idea of making Tulsa great.
What's he doing for Tulsa?
Well, so that's the thing. So I was reading about it, and it's like I was reading, and it was all the same sort of them mistaking leading indicators for following indicators.
Okay.
So it was like, look at Austin. Elon Musk just moved there. He moved the Gigafactory there. And they just built a new professional soccer stadium. And, it's all these stupid things.
Right.
Or, they have a university, which means they got educated workers. And it's like, dude, when someone graduates from college, they can move almost anywhere.
Yeah, they go wherever a job is.
So it doesn't, and then the job is like, well, why did Elon Musk move it there? Right? I mean, it's because it was cool, because there were people there. And why were the people there? Because it's fun. Like, everything goes back to fun. Fun should be, but again, of course, the people who run cities, these guys who are walking around, they're all 50-year-old guys with like overweight in their like gray suits, like walking around Austin, like
you're talking about the funnest people on the planet.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
The absolute funnest people who can identify a party, who get invited to parties all the time.
Yeah, the fun crew.
Who are so fun.
We know.
Just these like overweight, right wing, like, middle-aged men.
Fun.
So, fun with crew cuts,
Oh,
not
the crew
fun.
cut is the most
This
fun
is where
haircut.
not
Everyone knows.
We're not going to get on the good side of the Tulsans, but anyways, if anyone from who's trying to make Tulsa
I like
a
Tulsa.
great city,
Yeah.
or if you run a city, like what if
So
you're
you're
the
saying-
mayor of Toledo? And
You're saying
like,
the Tulsa guy is like looking at it the wrong way. He's being
wrong way.
He's
He
the
doesn't
guy.
understand.
He's the guy who sees the golden goose and he's like, cut it open, get the eggs, and you're like, no.
Exactly.
That's not how that works.
Exactly right. Right. So instead, what they should do is they should do immediately fun things like a music. They should definitely do music festivals, launch a huge music festival.
Tulsa
That's on a
Palooza.
Tulsa Palooza. That's on a weekend that no other music festival is. Right. Don't have it be the same weekend as Austin City Limits. Right. And then invite Burning Man to like do a Burning Man thing there every year seasonally, right? Like a mini Burning Man.
Can you just
thing.
invite Burning Man?
Why not?
Is that a person?
Why not? Yeah, it's a huge organization
Dear
full of
Burning Man.
super wealthy, super creative, super fun people. Tell them Tulsa would love to host you to have a mini quarter-year Burning Man festival or whatever, or whatever it is.
Is Tulsa legal on drugs? What are they? That's another field. I feel like you get Burning Man.
Well, if you
people
got the
in there.
billionaire who owns the whole city, I'm pretty sure he can tell the police officers to look the other way for a weekend.
True.
But,
No, Tulsa. I know Tulsa has medical marijuana for sure because I have a friend who works in a dispensary down in Oklahoma.
And it doesn't have to be Tulsa. We're just using that as an example.
No, right.
There's lots of cities in America who are owned by a few hundred people who could get into a room and say, hey, we want to make our investments go 10x in our real estate investments. How can we get a bunch of people to try to move to our city? That's every city in America. People are having meetings like that every day. Unless they're affluent already and they moved there to get away from everybody.
Right.
But most cities would love to have more people moving there and, build up the city and, make money. And
it's a double thing where you're like, you want your cool companies to come in and move their cool workers there to spend their money, but also the companies want to have a cool city to go to so that they're not putting their workers in like crappy places. So it's like it's synergy. It works together.
It does
to raise
but people think of it as a chicken and egg problem, but I say it's not a chicken and egg problem. It's like fun first.
Fun first.
Make your city super fun and then profit.
If you're going to get married,
everything will come
in
after
this
that.
city. You're going to have to walk down a slip and slide instead of
right.
a normal
It's gotta
aisle.
be fun.
We're doing fun, only fun weddings.
I'd love for people to disagree with me on this, but like I'm trying to think of like the causal chain that's outside of just a total chicken and egg, feedback, loop. What's the actual thing that injects and causes the beginning of it? And I can't see anything else besides fun. Like more money is not the case because these cities are not rich before this happens. They're rich after.
Right.
Universities, there's tons of cities like with universities. Universities seem to be a requirement, but they don't seem to be the cause. They are a requirement though. I think you need to have a university. By the way, if anyone wants to start a university in their city, I'll come and do it for you. You can pay me and I'll do it. I've started universities before. I can do it again. So like Tulsa should absolutely be building up their university. But
you're right. I mean, humans are presumably we're not working 24/7 and we need stuff to do. We get
young people
bored.
Are not.
So you want to have things that are things that people can do, i.e. fun.
Yeah, fun.
You know what I mean? Like you want to have parks that people can go to or movies that people can watch or dances that people can like go or festival.
But you can do all those things everywhere. It has to be like
you want to have a concentrated
fun things. Yeah, super fun things.
You want to have it where people are not worried that they're going to be bored or run out of stuff to do. They're always like, I can go to the farmer's market or I can go to the there are things available for me to do, and that takes infrastructure.
But still not fun enough. Farmer's market is not fun enough.
Not fun enough.
I mean, you need to have those baseline fun
farmer's
things.
market and trampoline park.
But every city has farmer's markets. Doesn't change. Toledo, Ohio has farmer's markets.
But for some people, that's fun. Like, get up on
fun.
Saturday and
but
go and pick out.
That's not fun. That's just nice. What I'm saying is if you want your city to really grow, it's what seems to be the case is that it's fun. Really fun things.
Okay.
Really fun.
But then like Colorado has it like places that skiing is possible. Skiing's fun, so you get to do that. You can't.
That's why Boulder. That's why Boulder's able to
Omaha. You can't go skiing.
Yeah, well, you got to do other things. I can't do it in Austin, but Austin does music festivals and barbecue and they do live music like crazy everywhere all the time. I think one thing that will support fun but is sort of subordinate to it, is affordable housing. So I mean, I think you need to also make sure you just have like tons of housing that's affordable, and then maybe even do like subsidized housing for like makers, like young people and
that makes sense. I was going to say, because affordable housing is to try to get younger people don't have a lot of money, but those are the people having fun. No offense to the older people in the world.
Yeah, they're having fun.
But the people in their 50s, 60s aren't going out starting the fun. They're not they're not the fun. It's young people who do stuff, and then other people,
so you want to get young people.
Older people join in later.
Young people will move places if they have some affordable housing and some fun.
Yeah.
They'll move there.
Yeah.
And most 5 fifth-tier cities are already affordable just because they're fifth-tier cities. So all you need to bring is the fun. And you'll become a thing. Now, it won't work overnight. It won't be like turning on a light switch, because Austin wasn't. It builds it up.
Yeah.
But I think a big music festival is something that can be done deliberately. It can be planned by sort of central planner people.
Right.
Uncool people can do it. And then they can just have people book the musicians and market it, and you'll have people come to your music festival.
Yes.
And then you just have to make sure every year you build it bigger and bigger.
Build it bigger, make a good impression on the people that come.
Yeah.
Some people
when
are going to go
clean up the city, make it look good, make it look great.
And some people will go, you know what, I'm going to come here when it's not the music festival.
Exactly.
Just because I want to see the place.
And maybe have something seasonal. So I would plan 4 major fun things seasonally. So I'd plan a big music festival when it's like warm and nice in the city.
Right.
And then plan like a smaller music festival, like a B-side kind of music festival, like a bluegrass festival or some other kind, or a rap festival, like a smaller, well, depending on what part of the country you're in, it's going to be bigger or smaller. Right. If you're in Atlanta, the big one should be a rap one. But if you're in a small, not so rap centric part of the country, you might do a small rap, you
gauge your audience.
Yeah. And then so you do a big music festival, a small music festival, and then you like with 2 different brands. And then I would do another fun thing, maybe like a giant video game conference, or like a giant like fun. It can't be like a giant insurance conference. It has to be like something really fun to do.
4 big like events that would bring people,
punctuate,
bring people, bring money, and bring
and make people stick around. Oh, this is cool. Every season there's this awesome thing I can go participate in, and my friends can come to town for that, and I'll see them because they'll come in for that, and it'll be fun, right? And then you got to build up your university for fun, and you got to build up your food scene, which is, I don't think is very hard, really. You just support restaurants and figure out what the bottlenecks are to getting good restaurants started. And then you do your party scene, where you make it safe, you make it fun, and you figure out what the bottlenecks are.
Aren't those opposite things though? Safe and fun usually?
You can do it. Like, for example, karaoke, safe, fun.
Okay.
Right?
Sure.
Hatchet bars, fun.
What is it?
Oh, not very safe though.
Those are where
axe throwing bars.
Throw the axe.
But you can do it. I mean, sure, people get drunk, but I just mean safe. Like, there has to be like police
precautions.
There's been police out on the street, like, don't do anything fucked up, or we'll call, we'll get you, we'll nab you. You can't just do like yeehaw Wild West, people drinking too much or whatever. Or
like there's a guy in there going crazy. Is he armed? Yeah, it's a hatchet bar. He's got axes.
He's armed. He's got
and also
you can't let like drugs go crazy. Obviously, like hard drugs, party drugs.
Right.
You can't let like.
Wait, that's fun though, right?
It's fun, but it's not safe, and you'll get a bad reputation, and you can't have like, so you have to make it safe but fun. But you can't make it so safe that it's not fun. So it's kind of like riding that edge, So if you build up the bar scene,
the edge Disneyland has been trying to ride.
I think a lot of the bar scene, the problem is just transit. People get drunk, they can't drive.
Right.
Like if you're in Toledo, Ohio, there's probably like 10 Lyfts, right? There's like 10 Ubers. It's not enough to bring everybody home on a Friday night.
Sure.
You might say, in order to improve our bar scene, we got to put up a midnight bus line that starts doing a bus every hour from midnight to 4 a.m.
We're trying to get drunk people transferred
safely
around because
back to their home.
We want them out drinking because that's
fun.
Having fun.
Yeah, exactly.
And spending money.
But if you went into a Toledo, Ohio city council and you said this, you would sound like a crazy person.
Right.
People would be like, what are you talking about? You're trying to court drunk people into our city? It's like, what?
You're like, all right, listen to him. I want to 10x your entire city's like prominence. We're going to start more drunk people at night.
More drunk people.
And they're like, what are you talking about?
Lots of bars, lots of restaurants. We're going to get restaurants you can't afford. You all have to go to. Everyone here at the city council, all of you have to start spending like $400 a week going to restaurants. You just have to. Anyways, I think that it's so counterintuitive because the people at the wheel are the least fun people. They think,
Yes.
no offense, Scott, but they think like you. They think a farmer's market is fun.
What?
It's not fun.
I am offended.
It's
How dare you?
pleasant. I think farmers markets are fun too. Maybe because we're getting old. Scott.
Okay, well, no offense, but it seems like you're like, we need to mandate fun. That's we'll force fun on these
Create
places, and that does seem
opportunities.
hard to do.
Opportunities for fun.
Fun from the top down seems like a hard thing to manufacture.
The guy who runs Coachella is like a billionaire. He's like a Trump supporting right wing multi-hundred millionaire.
He just figured out.
He just sells.
Start Coachella.
Yeah, Coachella. People love Coachella, and it's in where is it? California, Southern
He's
California.
like, I need a hologram of Tupac.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, build it for me.
Do it.
Stop it, Mr. Coachella.
Come on.
We can't.
Actually, I heard for a hot minute when Trump became president, he started to do all this bad stuff. For a hot minute, people were like, "I'm not going to go to Coachella," but then everybody still did.
That's the thing. People go like, "I'm going to boycott this thing," and then if the companies
they love fun,
if the companies waited
more
out
than
long
they love
enough,
their.
A lot of times the boycott will die down, and they'll be like,
People love fun more than they love their political convictions.
It's true. People do love fun.
Fun, dude. Fun. That's the solution. The fun first theory of urban development. Yeah, I think you based it on fun. And then what, if new opportunities for fun emerge.
Yeah.
Like look at Colorado with the legalization of marijuana.
Right.
I think that was a huge fun thing. It broadcasted to the whole country. This is a state and cities in the state are fun because we have marijuana that you can buy. Boom, big opportunity to do fun. So what other opportunities are there on the cutting edge of fun? I said like a video game conference or like a Comic-Con or like a
letting people start universities. That's pretty fun.
Well, definitely if you don't have a university and you want one, you got to call me up and
let
I'll
people start new universities.
Elon Musk is starting a new university.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
New university. It's called he created a nonprofit. He gave it $100 million.
All right.
It's called the Foundation, which is
did
from
he
the
start
movie,
a university or did he
books.
like accidentally buy a university and then kick out all
if
the
he was
people?
smart, he would buy a university. That's actually the fastest way to start with.
That's how he did it with Twitter.
But this is the thing. I actually kind of applied for a job there because I'd love to. I mean, I don't
at the new Elon U.
Yeah. I don't love necessarily. I think Elon Musk has made a few mistakes recently. But if he declared victory and stopped and left Twitter,
if he stopped arguing with people online as the richest person in the world, yeah.
I think he'd improve a lot. I think he's really made a mistake in engaging in Twitter.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of ruined his brain, like with brainworms.
Yeah.
But remember before Elon Musk was on Twitter, like 10 years ago, he was like pretty cool. I wonder if he could get back to that. And I don't think there's the impulse to build a university. I don't think is wrong. So anyways, I did apply to see if I can work there, which I'd be happy to work.
Did you find out about it yet, or is this still
No, I just emailed him yesterday.
Okay.
Not Elon, to some other guy.
By the time this comes out, you might be Elon's right-hand man at
Austin.
Elon U.
It's in Austin. I would, yeah. And I have
We're going to have to move the podcast to Austin?
Yep. Well, we do it remotely.
Oh.
Or we move it to Tulsa. Actually, well, Elon gave it $100 million. Anyways, it'll be obviously controversial, Elon Musk University, but if you think about it, like he won't be in charge.
No.
Hopefully he'll hire people like me to be in charge. And we'll do really smart things.
He teaches every class himself all day, every day.
Yeah.
You're like,
also, it's pretty easy to say to Elon Musk, like, hey, okay, all this crazy things, but what if we use science to educate the students better? Elon Musk will say yes. He'll say yes, use science. And that's all you need to do to make a university really good is use science. So
evidence-based
education, which is not what universities do today. They do the exact opposite. Yeah. But anyways, so
build cities, make them happen because starting with the fun component.
If you're a NIMBY and you don't think there should be more housing built in San Francisco because you want to preserve the character of the city or whatever,
right?
This solution is for you because we're going to
start it somewhere else.
Yeah, we're going to use the housing stock that's already in other cities.
This is in other people's backyard solution.
This is an Obi-Wan Kenobi. Other people's backyards. Yards.
You like OPB, other people's backyards? Yeah, you know me. OPB. Yeah, you know me.
Yeah, so what it does is it smooths out the housing crisis, which then stops being a housing crisis because there's plenty of housing stock in fifth-tier cities that's affordable or relatively affordable.
And byproduct, There's a lot of places you could travel to now because
That are
there's
all
more
cool.
fun spots.
There's tons of fun
Yeah.
going on.
Instead of just
Yeah.
going, where are we going to go? We have to go to
New York,
Disneyland
San
or Disney
Francisco.
World
Right,
because there's no
right.
other fun spots in
Right.
the world.
It would be like everywhere around you would be fun.
That'd be
Yeah,
fun.
I know. It'd be
That'd be
fun.
cool. Minneapolis. I want to go to
If
Minneapolis.
every season there was like every single weekend there was a major festival happening in cities within 200 or 300 miles of you.
That'd
It'd
be
be
great.
so fun. And each one could be really different. There could be like art festivals and, you know, music festivals and like little Burning Man creative music art festivals. And there could be tech festivals and internet podcasts.
A little different flavor of different places, sure.
And
Of
then
course.
every place you went would have its own unique food because the food is fun and would have this awesome bar scene that would be safe but fun. And I just think the only reason we don't have this is because the least fun people are in charge of
Are in
cities.
charge of it.
So yeah, maybe
Well, it's because the fun people don't want to be like,
I know they're
doing
too
that with
busy
their
having
time.
fun.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
don't want to do like budgets on spreadsheets.
They're like, would you
know?
rather go have fun or figure out where stoplights need to be and exactly how long they need to turn red and green?
Oh,
You're
God.
like, definitely option A.
Definitely
Option A.
I want to go to Burning Man or like, Austin City Limits or something. Well, that's it. That's the solution. It's a climate change solution. It also falls under the
I forgot it was a climate change solution.
it's a climate change solution.
I was just like, yeah, we're making fun places.
Yeah, it falls under the climate change solutions do not have to be austerity. They can make the world net totally better.
They're not like diet, is
Right.
what you're saying.
They're not
They can-
like turn
they
down
can
the
be
thermostat and
an
put on a
addition
sweater.
of things, not a
Yeah.
subtraction
Yep.
of things.
And we can make money. The real estate values in
Okay.
these fifth-tier cities can go up. We can solve the housing crisis, and we can solve climate change all at once by having fun.
Yeah, this place is not fun enough. We need more fun.
Yes.
I agree.
Let's do it. All right, everyone, for fun on 3. 1, 2, 3. Fun.
Fun.
All right. See you soon, everybody.
Have a good one.
Talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye.